to another episode of Groovi Tuesday. My name is Paul Church from Clarity Stamp here in the UK, and today we're celebrating the 100th edition of Groovi Tuesday. So why not pull up a chair and join the party, because we've got lots of fans. I have got a fan onto the table. Lots of fun planned for today. So I'll just give it a while for a few people to pull up a chair, plug their fans in, and then we'll all get together. I can see we've got some early birds in the room this morning. Karen McCaw, Lorraine Pollock, Lorraine Bell. There we go, Lynn Moore. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Here we go. Ros Wood. Beautiful day in Crawley. Yes, it's lovely and warm here in Edenbridge. Wow, here comes everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow. All of a sudden, there's a flurry of good mornings from everybody. Yes, it's the 100th edition of Groovi Tuesday. Don't know where the time's gone. And in between that, we had the Pergamano School, as well as the Groovi Tuesday. And it's lovely to have your company. And so many friendly faces in the room. And we've got lots of new friendly faces as well. So while everyone's pulling up a chair, should we do our usual weather report to see what the weather's like? I'm sure everybody has the same weather, although some of you may have some thunderstorms. They keep predicting them down here in sort of Kent, but so far haven't seen any. Yeah. So I'm just reading all the comments. Good morning. There's a lovely Ken, Cheryl. Hot and sunny in Lincolnshire. Sunny in Beverley in East Yorkshire. My computer's telling me that there's thunderstorms predicted. So it's hot in Swindon, beautiful in High Wycombe. Carol Pankstello had mega thunderstorms last night with massive hailstones. Wow. I did see on the news that parts of London, there was like flooding in North London and cars were still trying to drive through. So, yes. So I think, there we go. I think that's my all clear from Sue. So the lovely Sue is in the building with you today. So if you have any questions, she's there to help. If I catch any, I'll answer them. And I see that we've got a lot of our design team members in the room as well. So if myself or Sue miss anything, then they're sure to help. Lovely Hazel is in the room. So hands up, who came to our open days at the weekend? On Friday and Saturday, it was so lovely to sort of put faces to names that we see popping up. And thank you all for your kind comments and words. It really does mean, because I'm sitting here talking to myself, but I'm not really. I'm talking to everyone at home. And there was a few people that said that they can't watch live. They, when they get in from work, they watch, or if they have trouble sleeping, then they watch as well. Yes, Glynis was there, wasn't she? And Jill and Jane, lovely Sue, Pat Hoskins. Pat, it's always a pleasure. And thank you so much for coming all that way from Cornwall. I hope it didn't tire you out too much. It was lovely to see you. Yes, so many friends, old and new, that I've known for years and years and years. It was lovely to see Elizabeth Finch. Had a good catch up with her. Yeah, it really was. And apologies if I forget anybody names that were there, because Friday was really, really busy. I didn't even I think I demoed for about 10 minutes. And then it was all hands on deck. And then Saturday, which was the warmest day of the two, there was less people in the room, which was very nice. But there was more opportunity to have a proper catch up with our friends and family, because to me, that's what those open days are about. It is more like a family gathering. friends that we've known for many years. Marion Costello, Jill Wilding, Maggie Craner, and yeah, it seems, although it was only Friday and Saturday, it seems already like it was such a long time ago. But it was great. It really was. Thank you for everyone that sort of made the effort to turn up. Hands up, who was it first time? I think it was Clive and his wife Sue. I think that was their first time of coming. Yeah, it was lovely to see so many people in the building. So, but yes, today is the 100th episode, and I did promise last week that we'd have something a little bit special sort of lined up. But that will come a little bit later, so you've got to stay tuned for that. So yes, I've got coffee, and I don't know if you can see it, look. Mr. Ken Kilminster, thank you so much. I was going to take it home and eat it all to myself, but I thought I'd better keep it here and share it. So thank you so much, Ken. It's very kind of you and very much appreciated. I have cut a little slice, so I'll delve into that during the course of this morning. Yes, we shall see. So previously, what we've been looking at was a set of plates, the Jane Nesterenko lattice and rose plate. And what we did was we had a look at this design, and then there was an A5 square plate that just gave you the lattice in itself. And I saw some beautiful pieces of artwork where people have just taken this and then used it as an infill to create frames. It was really nice. Sue, it will all be gone by the time I'm finished in this session. So you have to sneak up. No, there will be some left, maybe a crumb or two. So we was looking at this, and I took my inspiration from a piece of artwork that the lovely Linda Williams created, and this was formed part of a craft along with Barbara, Grace and Linda Williams back in September 2021. And I love what Linda's used is our rainbow parchment, but instead of taking the design exactly how it came, what Linda did was that she offset the rose into the corner and then infilled the space and put the sentiment in the middle. Okay, so that's where I took my inspiration from. And what we looked at for the past 9 weeks was this piece here that I created. And I know many of you at home was following along as well. So I took the plate exactly how it came. We had a look at some techniques by adding white work to the lattice. We added some white work to the lily of the valley, a little bit of shading. Let me sort of just bring that up a little bit closer. We had some top tips from the lovely Jane Telford about using the purple to get that really intense pink. Then we looked at colouring in with our blending pens, which are back in stock, and then finished it off by sort of dorsing some colour behind that panel. And then what I did, I finished it off this morning because as part of the 100th episode, I'm going to give this card away if somebody wants it. I mean, you don't have to. I'll give it away to somebody, but I'll explain about that a little bit later during the course of the hour. And it may just happen to contain a £20 Clarity gift voucher. So even if you don't want the card, you may want the Clarity gift voucher. So, but as I say, more information will follow that during the course of the hour. So last week we had our poetry plates as the design of the week. And I thought what we would do is we'd have a look at this particular one because it's quite generic in style. So this one is, what is this life if? And I love the leafy frame that goes around the outside. And it works in all different directions. So you can have it portrait. So it's an A5 plate or it works on its side, or it works that way as well. So it has the versatility of being used in different directions. But for those of you familiar with Groovi, also know that you can stop at any point, so you don't have to use the whole frame. And it just happens to have a lovely poem in the middle. So you could take this design and trace it out exactly how it comes, and or you can adapt it. Now I've got a couple of pieces of artwork here from the design team. So this one here is from Jane Telford, and she's added a few other plates in the background. Now this has all been pico cut around the outside. Okay, then we have a piece of artwork from Glynis, more pico cutting around the outside, but you don't have to. If you're not that far on your Groovi journey, then you don't need to do that. However, if you are and you really want to challenge yourself, then this is a piece created by Chris Walker. And not only is she pico cut around the outside, she's also pico cut in the middle as well. So, so it depends how much of a challenge you're up for. I think, me personally, there'd be a bit of pruning going on with my pico cutting. But nobody have been none the wiser, would they? And then finally, I have this lovely piece from Linda Page, and she's done exactly the same. She's pico cut the frame completely, both inside and outside. So it shows some different things that you can do with it. Now I have got another piece of artwork. Let me just give you a sneaky peek, because it also showcases the one-day special that is coming up tomorrow on Create and Craft. And this one has been created by Glynis. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Let me bring it up to the camera so you can really, where we're going. Oh, left a bit, right a bit, no, that way. There we go. Okay, so this is a piece that Glynis has created using that frame and using one of the designs from the one-day special launching tomorrow. Excuse me. Oh dear. Bless me. Excuse me. That was, must be because I've got the fan on underneath. Okay. So this just gives you a little bit of some inspiration on what we can do with the frame. So I thought we'd keep it nice and simple for our 100th episode. Okay. Now, if you don't have this particular frame, but you have one of the other poetry frames, then you can follow it with that. Okay. So let me just pop these pieces of artwork to one side. So I've got my plate, and what I'm going to be using is my A5 calligraphy plate mate, which houses our A5 plates. Okay, so let's pop that into place like so. Okay, just there we go. So that's now, but look, who can spot the mistake? Anyone want to venture to the mistake I've made to start off with? No, I'm sure you can spot it. Or use groovers out there. Anyone? It's back to front, because the words are always spelled backwards. So what we're going to do is you need to remember to have the word Groovi in the top right hand corner, like so. Okay, there we go. Plate is the wrong way. There we go. See, I was just a little bit impatient for the responses, wasn't I? Because you're all telling me now it's back to front. I know. And it wouldn't work, would it? Okay, so we need a plate. Plate mate, if you have it, it makes it a lot easier to work with. We need an A5 piece of parchment. we're going to need some Groovi tabs, tumble dry sheet. We need our number 1 and number 2 Groovi tool, Groovi guard for sure, because if I'm going to delve into that cake, I really don't want to get any cake on my parchment, do I? Okay. So we need that, we need that, we need that. And I think that's all we'll need to start off with today. Okay, and I'll show you a few tips and tricks as we go along with the design. If you don't have the plate mate, then you can attach the parchment to an A5 plate because it is the same size, but you just have to wrap your Groovi tabs around to hold it in place. Okay, so it's still achievable even if you don't have that particular plate mate. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a couple of Groovi tabs and attach my parchment, just while everyone's pulling up a chair. Okay, so that's going to go there. I think this is going to be real. I love frames, and sometimes when you're working on a piece of artwork, if you start off with a frame, then it can help contain the piece of artwork that you're creating. Now for this particular one, it's an A5 frame, but we can shorten it if we want to, or we can just use a corner, which I'll show you during the course of the hour. And that's one of the beautiful things about parchment and the Groovi plates, is that depending on the design, you can pick and choose different elements from it. Okay, so let's have a look. So I've got my parchment taped in place. I'm going to take my tumble dry sheet and just give it a wipe. I definitely need my Groovi guard today because my hands are very warm. And what we're going to do, we're just going to zoom in a little bit now. Okay, so which way am I going? Zoom in, I need to come this way, nice and slowly. Okay, really nice and slowly, and then it goes full speed. Okay, whoops, chair. Okay, are we ready to get in the groove? I'm sure we are. So I'll move it up just so we can sort of have a look at the design itself. So I'm going to lean on my Groovi guard. I'm going to take the number 1 tool. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have a look at this area, because parts of the design have been wrapped around the frame. Okay, so if I start with just the leaf, so what I'm doing, I'm just pushing into the groove with my number 1 tool. Okay, and I'm just concentrating on these leaves here. Okay, there we go, so that comes like so. If we just look at the leaves themselves and ignore the frame, you'll see how it wraps around. Oops, slipped there. Okay, I'm going to include the frame in this part because I've slipped. I mean, that is my intention, to include it eventually, but I just wanted to ignore it to start with. So now if we have a look at this element, so sometimes it's not until we trace out the design that we actually see how it's been created, the different sections of it. See, so now if I just complete this little area here and just add that line in there, you can see now that we have just a little corner. Okay, so if you're looking to, I've got the line in the middle. So if you're looking just to add a little decorative corner, then this is a nice way of doing it. But if I want to continue with the design, and say I want to just do the bottom half, for example. So I'm going to start up here. I've looked at the design to see where it comes. And all I'm going to do is follow the groove. Let the tool do the work for you, like so. If you don't want to add the veins into the leaves, you don't have to. I'm going to bring a straight line down there. I'm going to ignore this part here. And then just continue with the lower part of the design. Okay. But I love when you look at this particular plate, how you can take elements from a design and change the overall effect of what it's meant to do. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's a skill to be able to do it. All you're doing is just, as you're tracing it out, you're looking at the image. Okay. Got carried away there. So who has this plate in their collection? I know a number of you ordered it last week, and a number of you also collected it at the open days. I can't believe that the open days have been and gone. It really is sort of, for me personally, it is that highlight of the year where we get to see so many friends. And it really is like a family gathering, because some of the people that come, I've known for many years. Yeah, it really is like a family gathering. Excuse me. So let's lift this off now, and you can see just using an element, okay, of that whole A4. We've only used not even half the piece of parchment. Okay, so what we could do, okay, let's go a little bit. I just want to show you some variations on this. So if I now turn this round, let's have a look. I'm gonna line this up. I reckon. What do you reckon? I reckon about that. So what I'm doing, I'm lining up the edge of my parchment with the edge of the plate, because that's where it started. And I'm lining up the internal frame to see that I've got a connection, like so. And I'm going to just bring it down just an incy-wincy bit. Let's tape that in place there. Take another Groovi tab and hold it in place the other side. So now all of a sudden what we're doing is we're creating a square. Jane Telford, hold your tongue, young lady. Can we have 2 a year? Goodness me. Goodness me. That's all I'm saying. But don't forget, we also, not only do we have our open days, but we also have our summer retreats. We have our parchment retreats as well. So we do have other opportunities to get together and to meet friends during the course of the year. So I think at this point in time, Jane, I think once a year is fine at the moment. I think it also makes it special as well, doesn't it? Mary, the name of this plate is called What Is This Life If? And I'm sure the lovely Sue will pop a link up for you. So That's right, Ken. The open days may have gone, but the fun and joy lives on. Oh, that rhymes. Now, don't tell me that wasn't intentional, Mr. Kilminster. So all I'm doing, I'm tracing out the same area that I traced out a moment ago. Okay. So it's all about having a look at the design and then choosing areas if you want to. Now you may decide that you want to trace all of it out, which is fine, you can do that. In a way, you want to sort of know what you want to pop inside. See, I think some of the designs coming up on the one-day special in a smaller frame will fit the smaller version. So what we're going to do now, whee, see, don't go too fast and jump out, Paul. Slow down. Get in the groove. There we go. And we're just going to follow it round. Now, if you're unsure about your positioning, then what you could do, I mean, as you can see, it didn't take too long to trace out that small bottom part, did it? So what you could do is you could do it on two separate pieces and just overlay them on one another to see what they look like, whether you want to extend the design further or whether you just want to use some of it. Okay, so we're just going to follow the design. So to celebrate the 100th edition of Groovi Tuesday, as I said earlier, I'm going to send the card that we made over the previous 9 weeks, and included with the card is going to be a £20 Clarity gift voucher. All you need to do, okay, it's so difficult, it really is not. All you need to do is send an email to info@claritystamp.com, and in the title, just put Groovi Tuesday and just say what episode you started watching from. I mean, if you can't remember, it doesn't matter, but it will be interesting for me to see when people started, whether you joined in episode 1, whether you came in at episode 21, 51, 61. It just for me, I would like to sort of know when sort of people joined, not joined, but started coming to the Groovi party. Oh, Anja, okay, if you can't, right, okay, let me think then. If you can't send an email, okay, message me on Facebook, because I noticed that you're signed into Facebook. So just message me on Facebook, and I will include that as well. Okay, I just thought it might be, I thought email may have been the easiest option because then they're all in one place, and I'm terrible on Facebook. So, and I didn't want all my messenger going ping, 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 ping. So the best way is to do it by email to info@claritystamp.com, and in the subject matter, put Groovi Tuesday. And if you want to say what episodes you started joining in, that'd be great, but you don't have to. If you don't do email, then send me a message on Facebook. I'm sure we're friends, and I'll include that in the thing. Now you've got a whole week to do that, so there's no rush, because I know many of people that tune into Groovi Tuesday don't watch it until later in the day or of an evening or later in the week due to various commitments. So I'm going to run it for a whole week, and then next Groovi Tuesday, which is next Tuesday, I'll pick a name at random. I'll get Sue to help me. We'll put all the names in a hat or a box or a bin, and we'll pull out a winner, and that winner will receive the card that we've made over the past 9 weeks, together with a £20 Clarity gift voucher. Okay. So I don't want, nobody should feel excluded down to technology. So yeah, so hopefully, Andrew, that'll be the best way you can do that. Okay. I'm sure that'll be fine. Okay. So let's carry on with our design. So you've got a week to do it. Okay, so let's lift this up now. I think I've got all the design in place. Just like so. And I'll repeat what we've just spoken about again during the course of the rest of the hour. Now, all of a sudden, we have a square from a rectangle. And it works that way, works that way, and that way. So this will be great. Maybe you purchased the Bijou Floral Alphabet and you wanted to put a little word or a name inside. So really, it's just showing different options. Just because a rectangle is a rectangle doesn't mean that you have to keep it as a rectangle. And I'm sure if I was to break this down even further, let's have a look. See, when you look here, see, I could go from here all the way up to there, or even on this side, and just have it as a corner on the left of my card. Okay, or just do a small area. So should we have a look at that? So we've got a square from that one. Okay, and basically all I did was I lined my parchment up the same size as my plate. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. Oh, stretch. Dear, oh dear. Achy bones. 100 years is, or 100 episodes. Showing its age now. Oh, look, I've missed a bit. Let me just add. See, look, I noticed that I've missed a bit there. But what happens is it slots back into place and I can add that element in. There we go. So just to recap, let me zoom out a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Definitely getting some groovy yogi in play. Groovy yoga in place here. There we go. Right. A5 parchment. Line it up the exact same as the plate. So we pop that on there like so. And what I did was I only went up, I had a look at the design. So if I cover this up for those of you that may be tuning in at a different set. So I've gone up to there. And did I go up to there? No, I went up to there. And then I went up to there. Okay. So I created a long side and a short side, just like so. But I stopped at these points here, just underneath that leaf. I'm sure that's what I did. Yeah. And then I didn't go, so I stopped under this leaf. So it's just a little bit of the corner here. And then once I did that, I then turned my parchment around and then repositioned so that the top met. So the long part came down to here and the short part came up to here. And that's how I created the square. Okay. Now you may decide that you want to do sort of like just a short corner. So again, you could come down here. So maybe it's worthwhile sort of taking just a piece of parchment and just trying different concept. So whether you just do the bottom half and then you have something that's larger, or you just do the bottom corner like I did. What you need to remember though is that when you turn it over, whatever's on this side is going to be on the left side of your design. So if I was to trace out this area here, when I turn it over, it's going to be on the left of my overall design. Okay. Is it time for cake yet? I can smell this cake. So look, let me put my artwork to one side. So I have already cut a slice, and I say thank you so much, Ken. Let's have a look. So I cut a little slice just to be sociable, and I've got some serviettes. Got some hand towels. So Sue was saying, she asked me not to eat it all. Okay, look, I can see cake. So here's a slice for Sue, and this is for me. Okay, Sue, me. It's like a smiley face. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Ken. So there we go. So this is for Sue for later, and this is for me later. As Ken said when I emailed him yesterday when it turned up, he said you can't have 100th episode of Groovi Tuesday without cake. And we often talk about, well, I know I do. I waffle on, don't I, about cake and having a sweet tooth and everything else. So it's very, very kind and very thoughtful. So thank you, Ken. Okay. Who wants a sneaky peek of the one-day special that I shall be launching on Create and Craft tomorrow at 6 p.m. and then 9 p.m. and then back on Thursday at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Need to say thank you to the lovely Jane Telford, Glynis Whitehead and Josie Davidson for prepping all the demos for me, as usual. It makes a massive difference. So let me put, what am I going to do? Oh, no, I'll tell you what, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to bring it over because I've got it all laid out over here. Yes, I've got shorts on today. Definitely need shorts. I should have had shorts on Saturday, but I never looked at the weather, did I? Okay. Let me turn it around this way. I'm going to do it to the front camera first, and then we'll come in on the overhead to see them in a little bit more detail. This is where they all fly away. So it is a collection. No, you can't see that. Let's come in on the overhead. Woo, let's turn them the right way around now. Now, it's a series of 6 A6 plates with spacers. Now, you may be familiar with the designs because we launched the designs in stamps earlier in the year. And the actual shapes themselves are taken from our fresh cut dies. Okay, so you can see you've got the 2 different sizes. Okay, so we've got 4 large ones, and then in the same designs, we've got 4 small ones. Okay, and what I did, I just traced them out just to show how you can create beautiful 3D butterflies. Now, the one-day special itself is just the plates, because I know many of you at home will already have the dies. So let's have a look at the designs themselves. Okay, so the first one is graceful. So this is an A6 plate. Okay, and it also comes with a lovely little spacer so that it fits perfectly within the plate mate of the starter kit. Okay, so you've got the outline, and then you've got the infill. You've got the body, you've got the antennae, and lovely little decorative elements. So that's one. Okay, then you have the next one, which is Spread Your Wings. This is the floral bouquet. Okay, lovely design. Say, created by Jazz and lovely Lisa, that many of you would have met at the open days. Then we have the monarch butterfly. So this is great for picot cutting on the inside, or just filling in with different patterns if you want to, or different colors. This is a great one for coloring in. Then we have the leafy swirl one, I'm thinking of you. So more decorative little elements on there. So they're the 4 larger ones. And then we have the same designs in these itsy bitsy tiny little sizes. So you've got the monarch and graceful, and then you have the floral and the leafy swirl. Okay, so that is the 1-day special. It's that collection of A6 plates with the spacer plate. Okay, and the spacer plate that Jazz created, you've got these lovely, let your dreams be your wings, let your light shine bright. You've got a lovely little border and this stunning flourish of flowers. And let me show you some artwork from the design team. So I've just chosen a selection to let you have a look. So the first one is by Glynis. Now Glynis has taken that floral bouquet, look, the paper behind, die cut, and then what Glynis has done, she's used one of the decorative multi-needle tools to go around the outside to do the wings on that one. Okay. Then we have a piece by Karen Jackson. So she's picot cut. So you've got the solid one there, and then she's picot cut to open up the wings themselves. Then we have this piece by Carol Baker. Now this is in layers. I know Tina would love this. Tina loves working in layers. So when I lift it up, wow, look at that. I didn't notice that before. So on the pink parchment, it's been traced out, and then it has grid work behind it, and then this one, and then picot cut around the outside on top. Okay. Then I gave you a sneaky peek of this one earlier. This one's from Glynis, using the lovely frame that we're looking at. Okay, look at this. Look, see where the companion papers really complement the design. Then looking at the little bitty ones, we have another piece by Karen Jackson. Look, they're just glorious, absolutely glorious. And see, there's so many favorites where every time I look at one, I notice something different. So this one is by one of our newest design team members. This one's from Jill Askham. And you know that lovely spacer plate I was showing you? Jill has created a frame using that, and then using the itty bitty little butterfly. Look at that. Happy birthday. That's stunning. And then finally, I've got another piece by Carol Baker, using 2 of the little ones, and with some fantastic grid work. Okay, so I don't want to show too many because I won't have anything left to show off on TV. So you have to tune in to see the rest of the designs. And if you're interested in the dies as well, just so you can see what they're like. So you've got the large butterfly and you've got the small butterfly, and they all come in this little stand. See, so you've got the monarch effect where it die cuts out all the openings, and then you've got your solid piece. Okay, and over the course of the 4 hours, I'm going to show you different techniques and tips and tricks, and all courtesy of Josie, Jane, and Glynis, who have prepared all those lovely demos for me to showcase. And just to show off, let me just show you off one of the butterflies. So this one here. So if you can't tune in, let me just give you a heads up on this one. if you decide to go with the dies, or you already have the dies, because I know many of you already will, is that you die cut your parchment first and then trace out your design. Because if I just explain, the way the plates have been designed is that if you don't want to use the dies, then they're already configured for you, so to speak. Okay, so they're, rather than like the stamps are two separate stamps, the Groovi doesn't need to be two separate wings because you can choose what you want to do. So you trace out, or you die cut your butterfly first, but because the way in which the die works, you see that it has this body in the middle. So you position that one in place, trace it out, move that one along, and trace it out as well. So it doesn't give you the outline because the die itself does that. And then you fold it so that it flutters like so. And then I just took some white card and die cut the stand so that when you position your butterfly on your stand, let me just, it's going to fly away. Let me bring it in on camera one. It's because the fan's on. There we go. Look at that. So to me, you can either do this on your designer parchment, on your rainbow parchment, on your solid color parchment, or if you just do it in the clear parchment, then just die cut another piece of companion paper, pop that underneath, and it will automatically illuminate that design. Look, flying away. Fly, fly, fly. But these are lovely. The stamps will be on the show as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this to one side, and you'll need to tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. on Create and Craft to see what tips, tricks I've got up my sleeves. Okay. And let's put all these lovely butterflies to one side so that I can take them to the TV tomorrow. There we go. So I'm really looking forward to this because for me, a combination of the die and the Groovi plate. So if you're not into your picot cutting, then the die does the job for you. I mean, it doesn't give you the fancy edge, but it gives you that lovely butterfly shape, whether you go for the large or the small. And I'm torn between the two sizes because I think they both have the same use. And you imagine doing these as a lovely mobile with the gentle breeze blowing through the window. Really, really nice. Ken's hole in his wallet is just getting bigger again. Surely not, Mr. Ken Kilminster. Okay, so let's go back to the plate that we've been looking at. It's getting really warm in here now, and this cake smells gorgeous, and it's saying, "Eat me, eat me." I will. After Groovi Tuesday, I shall go and have a fresh cup of coffee. Question from Karin. If you don't want the dies, can the butterflies be picot cut out? Does that make sense? Absolutely, because with the Groovi plate, you've got the shape of the butterfly itself. So then you would just take a 2-needle tool, perforate all the way around, and picot cut them. So you don't have to use the dies at all. But what we're doing is we're offering the dies to you so that if you want quick and easy cards, then you can have that option. A lot of what the design team, the samples and the artwork I showed you, a lot of them have been picot cut around the outside. Okay, so not a problem at all. Just depends on what level you're at for your grooving. Okay, so let's attach the parchment again in the same position, like so. Okay, wipe it with our tumble dry sheet. And let's now trace out the whole design. Who created the square with me when I just did the square? Or is everybody just watching? I'm sure everyone's just watching. It's too warm, isn't it? So we're going to take the design and I'm just going to follow the groove. So just as a bit of a recap, to celebrate the 100th episode of Groovi Tuesday, I'm going to send the lucky person, well, not so lucky, the card that I've made over the past 9 weeks using Jane's rose and lattice design. And inside that card will be a £20 Clarity gift voucher. And in order to win a chance to win it, all you need to do is either send an email to info@claritystamp.com and in the title just put Groovi Tuesday. If you want to let me know what episode you joined Groovi Tuesday, that'd be great, but it won't disallow the entry, so don't worry about that if you don't want to say. If you're unable to use email, then you can send a message on Messenger to me and I will include that as well. So it means that everybody's included. And then you've got now until 9 o'clock next Tuesday, which is, what's the next Tuesday? Next Tuesday is, where's my calendar gone? Next Tuesday is the 20th, so you've got until 9 a.m. The 20th of June to send in, and then Sue and I will put all the names in a hat, and then during the course of next week's Groovi Tuesday, I'll pull a name out and that person will receive the card with a £20 gift voucher. Okay. So all I'm doing now is just tracing out the frame exactly how it comes. So what else have I got to tell you? Let me see. So we've got TV Wednesday and Thursday, 1 day special. Then competition, I've mentioned that to you. What else? We've spoken about the open days, and I know many of you were at the open days. We'll probably have a look at some dates for next year so that we can book up and get the events booked in. What else we got? Spoke about the cake with coffee, and I've saved a little bit for Clarity Sue, and then the rest is for me. Don't forget to check out the Clarity Matters blog. Sunday just gone, Jane did a fantastic step-by-step using the poetry plates and sort of breaking down into different elements and different areas to do that. Then don't forget to check out Barb's blog, barbaragrayblog.com. And I think that's all that's happening this week. So you've got the blogs to check out. On a Saturday, Grace does a Saturday share on the Clarity Matters blog. We've got a new design of the week launching today, so Barb will blog about that, no doubt, later today. Yeah, so TV tomorrow and Thursday, and then back in the shack with Barb on Monday, and then me again on Tuesday. And then next week, I'm not saying anything. No. I'm sure Barb will give you a sneak peek next Monday. I'm not saying anything. Yeah. Okay. So it really doesn't take long to bring the design together, does it? You could spend a couple of hours just tracing out these frames and then deciding afterwards what you want to pop in them. So whether you do it on clear parchment, whether you do it on the rainbow parchment, the designer parchment, it's entirely up to you. Oh, it's very warm in here. Very warm indeed. The fan is on under the table and I've got shorts on, but it just feels as if it's blowing warm air around. Can't believe where the time goes to. So by next week, what would be great is if everyone had a frame traced out. Okay, whether you decide to go for the square or whether you decide to go for the rectangle. Maybe you have one of the other poetry plates. You could do that as well. So I know many of you have been collecting them over a period of time. So it's great. It doesn't take long to do once you get into that groove. See, I even think that the rose from that lattice plate would look lovely in the center of this as well. Because it's just a leafy frame, it would work with various different floral designs if you wanted it to. Or you can just put the verse in exactly how it comes. If you've gone for, I know many of you, speaking to many of you at the open day, many of you purchased Barbara's Bijou Floral Alphabet Groovi plate. So this is a nice size for using that plate to pop a design in the middle, like a name. I think that, because if it was that way, you would definitely get a name of some length into that frame, wouldn't you? So there's so many choices because it is such a generic frame. There's no sort of real start. It could be spring, it could be summer, it could be autumn, it can be winter. It will all depend now on how we decide to colour it in. Obviously, we can go lush bright greens and it's more spring and summer, or we could go sort of rusty browns and oranges to make it autumnal and wintry. So this is exactly the same design, but we've just made it shorter. Okay. And then automatically I can see here that I could just take this element here and just do a nice, that'd make a lovely bookmark, just as a centerpiece, that piece there as a center, and we could just close off the panel. So it's all about having different options. I mean, if I take, where's that rose plate gone that we've been working on? Let me just bring that in there. See, look, so if I put that, let's pop it that way. That rose, that wasn't planned at all. That rose sits in there like a charm. It really does. Also, it sits just as well. So you could look, you could have that to your side and you could have a little verse down there, couldn't you? Because you can definitely shorten the verse as well. So, I mean, that fits like so. I mean, that fits lovely that way as well. So you just have to squidge it up a little bit so you can get the W.H. Davies underneath it as well. But you could do a line, just move it down a little bit, do the next line, move it down a little bit, and then you could have a center piece here. Or you can go straight in the middle, or you can do it exactly how it's been designed to work. Now, will it go into that small square? I'm sure it will. There we go. So that will go like so in there, and then you just put W.H. Davies at the bottom. So I hope you've enjoyed the 100th episode. I know I have, and I know I'm off to eat that cake very shortly before Sue comes running upstairs. So just a reminder, if you would like to be in the opportunity to win this card and the £20 Clarity gift voucher, you've got between now, which is Tuesday the 13th of June, until Tuesday the 9 o'clock, Tuesday the 20th of June, to send an email to info@claritystamp.com, and in the title put Groovi Tuesday. And if you want to say what episode you joined me at, then that'd be great, but you don't have to. If you're unable to use emails, then you can send either a message to me on Facebook, or you can post it in a message on the Clarity Stamps Facebook page, and I'll ask Grace to pick those up for me. So nobody's excluded. It's all about sort of enjoying the moment and having fun. So thank you for all your support over the last 100th episode. I'm looking to the 200th episode in the future. Thank you for Sue for your help, and as always, the design team in the room. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, Thursday at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Otherwise, I'll be in the Shack with Barb on Monday at 10 a.m. and I'll be back with you on Tuesday for episode 101. So enjoy the rest of the week. Make sure you drink plenty of fluids, stay out the sun, get in the groove, and have some fun. Thank you all so very, very much. I'm going to off to eat my piece of cake now. Thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye.